Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining the Constructors Couch on behalf of the Worshipful Company of Constructors. My name is Paul Singh, and I'm delighted to be interviewing our super talented scholars about their upcoming research. Today, we're starting with Mr. Jamie Tong. Morning, Jamie.
Good morning.
How are you today?
Yeah, very well. What about yourself?
Very good, very good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Sun is shining in my face, which is fantastic.
Just what you need.
Yeah, exactly. So just an introduction to Jamie. Jamie's fascination with buildings started as a child, where he spent 5 years growing up in Singapore, witnessing some of the most complex engineering marvels being created. After completing senior school back in the UK, he took a couple of years out working abroad and got experience working on the tools as a labourer, which developed into him becoming a self-employed handyman. Once settled on engineering, he enrolled at Swansea University for mechanical engineering, whilst working as an agency handyman part-time. In search of site-specific knowledge, he then applied for a degree apprenticeship with Sir Robert McAlpine, and after a year, was already managing his own packages. It's impressive. In search of an additional challenge, Jamie applied for the Sir Ian Dixon Scholarship offered by the Worshipful Company of Constructors. Thank you for joining us on the virtual couch, Jamie. Let me start by asking you about your research.
Yeah, of course. So my title is called A Review of the Implications Caused by Utilities During Construction and Their Potential Solutions. So I actually applied with a very different title. So it was to do with the technological lag in construction.
Yeah.
I then went around the houses, really just exploring that and whether I wanted to continue with that initial idea. And I realized it was far too broad. It actually started making me look at the issues we had on site. And the day I changed my title was the day we actually had a service strike.
Okay.
So service strike is obviously an unplanned contact with a utility service, whether that be water, gas, sewage, electrical cables. From being an outsider and relatively new to large-scale construction projects, I couldn't really believe the risks that personnel were taking, and I don't think they were necessarily fully aware of them.
Okay.
There's 33,000 volt cables in the ground, and when those go, that's a small explosion. So to be digging around that very carelessly at sometimes, that it's a significant risk. And my research is to explore more into this, highlight the risks that are being taken, point out the limitations in the technology that's currently being used. And really, It's just to ask the industry to think, can we make this better? How can we make this? And just a bit of a reevaluation.
I think it's a really interesting topic because I've actually worked for groundworks contractors and seen firsthand how easy it is to actually strike something. You can do all the RAMs and method statements, and you can do all the prep work. But to be honest, I was a bit shocked to see how easy it could happen. What do you think? So do you think the main reasons for it are just a bit carelessness, or do you think there's a specific reason, a main reason for it?
I actually think there's a lot of reasons involved. I think part of the reason is the care taken around, say, the likes of a telecommunications cable is substantially different to 33,000 volt cable. Okay. Now, rightly so, there's a lot more risks working around a 33 kV, but the implications and the financial implications are still the same to the company. So I think it's because for the operators working, something that's been highlighted in my research is actually the operators working around services are much more likely to take care around electrical cables than they are for telecoms or optics.
Oh, okay.
Which,
yeah.
For obvious reasons, that poses a threat or a hazard to their health. However, telecoms and fiber optics can be significantly expensive for the company in order to carry out the direct repair and the direct cost. So I don't think there's necessarily one reason. Another reason is just I don't think the operatives are aware of necessarily the limitations on sensors. Okay. So Cat and Jenny, I don't think that's utilized properly within the industry. I've never seen actually a Jenny part of the Cat and Jenny being pulled out to be used in order to trace the cable, to trace the pipe. It's a quick scan with the Cat and then away they go.
Okay. Oh, wow. That's, it's really good insight into this. Do you? I can see because you did touch on it, but you have personal experience in the issue, and but do you so the passion is it passion just for this part, or is it health and safety in general? Do you have that passion, and where did it come from?
So I think I ended up down a bit of a rabbit hole. I must be honest, my application was 2 minutes before the closing date.
Okay.
It popped up on the homepage, and I thought,
Yeah.
why not?
Why not?
Nothing gained, nothing lost. I then started to look into this research, and I just continued down it. I realized when I started looking into the facts, started realizing that actually are people aware of this? I thought, being new to the industry, that it was me. And actually, when I started inquiring, asking people on site, are you aware what happens if you hit that cable? Or doesn't it just go pop? No, it goes bang and probably, removes half your excavator.
Yeah.
People weren't aware of these things. So I think it was an interest. It would be very good to be able to say I made a difference in the industry. And then speaking to the likes of, leading up to the webinar, I've been speaking to potential people to participate in the round table. Having discussions with these people, you suddenly realize, I don't think, from everyone I've spoken to, I don't think there's anyone that couldn't give me an example. Now, I was speaking to someone who had builders round last week. They hit a cable in his back garden. I had someone who had a 33 kV strike working on a highways. I had 2 days before a meeting, I had a strike on site. These are constantly happening. There's 1.5 million kilometers of cable in the ground in the UK. And there's a substantial amount of excavation work and trial holes being carried out. All of this poses a risk. And so when I started learning these figures, I to myself, I thought something needs to change.
I didn't realize it was that. You could speak to. It sounds like if you could speak to anyone in this industry or in that sort of space, they would probably have a story, someone that they know or whatever it is. I didn't really know that, and I find it funny what you said about how you found your research. I've done the same thing before, just found it and just developed the passion for it, but by accident in some ways, in whatever it is. But what would you say? So you did say about the impact. So you think, so your research, what kind of hope do you think that it would have, the impact it would have on the wider sector? And I think you did mention it before, but I think what kind of impact do you think it will have?
So when I started this, I thought it would raise awareness, and that was the main objective. That's actually evolved to something more tangible. I myself actually launched a business out of the back of this, looking into utility avoidance and how can it be carried out more safely. That was my personal venture, shall we say. But for the wider community and the industry, I think it would be a more standardized way of carrying out these excavations. There's companies that I've been discussing with that have got really useful safety measures in place that are kind of setting the standard, and I don't think they're using it to its full potential in regards to, I think actually that should be the way it's standardized now. And obviously more of this will be discussed in the webinar. So it's more I think the other thing that I would like to bring to the table is also a full conversation, giving people the opportunity to understand the issues that utility companies face, but also the issues that ground workers face. I learned the other day, for instance, in America, it is the utility service provider's responsibility to give accurate information to where services are. However, in the UK, it's the complete opposite. So anyone digging in the ground, anyone on a construction site, it's their job to avoid hitting services. Now, when something that came out of my research from the University of Birmingham was, out of 187 incidences where utility drawings were reviewed, 52% did not show the service that they struck. So you've got utility providers not providing information, accurate information, with the responsibility on the contractor. And I just don't think at the moment they're meeting on a par and on a level playing field to give everyone the best opportunity to work safely and efficiently.
I think that sounds like a very commercial stance, doesn't it? In the sense that you're just trying to cover your back, and I think it should be a more and what I'm hearing is
100%.
It should be more collaborative, where everyone takes ownership for it, not just passing down the risk, isn't it? And that's what basically it is. It's passing down the risk, and I think Yeah, I think there is actually something there. I'm actually interested in your business. Just so it's obviously linked. It's linked to my next question, in fact. But what has been the most rewarding win during your research? And I guess opening business has probably been one of the most rewarding things for you. But is it tied a lot? I mean, so the reason why I'm interested in it is because I believe if you want to change something, business is one of the ways to do it, because once people do listen to organizations, and you have more control, and it's something that you can build bigger than you. So if it isn't business, but what has been the most rewarding win during your research just so far?
The business has been another kind of venture, another development, another kind of stepping stone, and that for me it's been very interesting, and I've enjoyed learning that process, starting it up, all the steps you've got to go through, and equally knowing that this R&D product could potentially come to the market. That is exciting. But I think it's more, for me, the biggest win is all these people I'm talking to that are saying, oh yeah, that happened, or oh, we had a strike the other day, realizing, constant reminder that actually there is a need for change. And I think realizing that there's a need for the research I'm carrying out, I think that validation was probably the biggest win, when I went, what, even if a couple of people, 2 people tomorrow carry out an excavation in a more safe manner, then this would have been worthwhile.
No, I get that. That's really good. Do you think you've attained any specific skills during this process, this research, other than obviously building businesses?
I laugh about this, but actually, for someone who's dyslexic, to have to write a written report.
Oh, amazing! That's amazing.
Yeah,
okay.
No, on a more serious note, I think it's learning how to talk to people, how to carry out a research report. I haven't finished my university degree at the moment, so I'm doing that part-time as well. So I'm almost carrying out a dissertation before a dissertation. Fantastic. So understanding that process, learning how to carry out surveys. The WCC has been amazing in providing all that kind of lessons learned and information to allow me to get the most out of this opportunity. So I think it would be more around the skills that you pick up in order to have to carry out something like this.
Yeah, I think I like the point about talking to people within the industry, and as well, kind of, I can see you probably talked to some big figures like during your journey, and I see someone like Deborah Pullen, who leads our scholarship programs as well. She's a big figure in the industry, and we did an interview with her, and part of this construction count. She's amazing, and I think she's a big figure. And I think, did you learn a lot from her?
My conversation with Deborah, and I'm embarrassed to admit this, but I thought she was just running the WCC in regards to the admin side of it.
Yes.
So I got a huge. It was a steep learning curve when I started talking to her, and I've never met someone who, I'm sure people listening will have someone they can think of that you just start speaking to, and they just drop these little things that casually, the fact that she's been to Buckingham Palace, and I believe she was, wasn't knighted, I can't remember.
MBE,
exactly.
She is an MBE.
That's it. Casually dropped that in into a conversation. So she was amazing. She had connections everywhere. She was really good to utilize to get access to kind of these networking opportunities. And an incredibly clever woman, as I'm sure people find out listening to your interview with her.
No, you don't worry about that what you did, because a lot of people, when they're talking to people within our livery, because our goal is not to promote ourselves, it's more about the charity and scholarship and everything like that. We kind of hide everything. So you're talking to Deborah, and you're like, oh, by the way, I ran the BRE trust. Done. And you're like, oh, well, okay.
Oh yeah, exactly that.
Did you? It's amazing. That's so fantastic. So last question. How has the West for Company Constructors helped you personally during this scholarship program?
So Anna and the team and Anjali, they've been phenomenal in setting up kind of a support structure that really, without it, I don't think I would be where I am and as confident in what I'm reporting, shall we say. There was social media training, there was carrying out survey training. It's also a very difficult industry to get surveys carried out. in regards to some of the people you speak to on the site just aren't interested. So it was kind of having the confidence to deal with people that just don't want to participate and how you can engage them more. I think it's also just the structure of the scholarship and how it works. It's very set. You know, there's criteria to meet certain months, and you know exactly where you're supposed to be. Not only does that obviously mean that the WCC can check in on you and check you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, but it also means you have to check in on yourself. You know, you have a reflection every 2.5 months, you know, with whether that be with your mentor, whether that be your report you've got to write, your progress report, whether that's just conversations in the kind of the scholarship meetings we have. All those points people are asking, how you're getting on, is there any issues? You know, it doesn't mean you can sit on it and not get focused, but also it means there's always that helping hand when you need it. And I can't thank, you know, the WCC and Charlie and Anna, all of those enough for the opportunity and the support they've given me to carry this out.
Those two are particularly superb. I think they're amazingly driven and knowledgeable as well. And I think as well with this scholarship program, you can also pull the resources of our membership as well, and if you need specific specific things. And so, but Jamie, that this has been fascinating, and I particularly like. Do you know what I like is that you picked up a subject which even I know is a problem, but it's a kind of a hidden problem in some ways, because I think and it's kind of trying to bring it to the forefront, which it definitely needs to be, because it's literally instant death, really. It's terrible. It's like it's not like a fall from heights. I mean, fall from heights are terrible, but you know, obviously this one, it should be on that sort of level, to be honest, if what you're saying is accurate.
So it's around 100 serious injuries or life-altering injuries a year. And you know, when you start reading the figures behind it, as you say, you know, it's 4 million holes dug a year. They reckon in the UK that's 4 million opportunities where you could hit something. Anything from making a big puddle if you hit a water pipe to something a lot more severe. And the thing that, you know, just before we kind of conclude, the thing that staggered me is it's also, not only do you have this incident, so if you have a slip or a trip, you know, you have that incident, person fell over, they were injured, not acceptable, it should never happen on a construction site, but it does. However, with what I'm doing, you have the direct implications, so that's potentially personal injury, damage to the business. There's also the financial cost of reconnecting. However, what's not shown or not completely made aware to people is for your direct cost, there's actually a 1 to 29 ratio for your indirect and social. So every pound that you've got to pay for fixing this problem, it's estimated there's another 29 pounds, incurred to the business through insurance premiums, loss of work hours, HSE fines, cost to the community, diverting traffic. You know, there's this lot bigger picture that kind of happens as a ripple effect from this. So that's the other reason for looking into this and exploring this.
That's amazing. That goes back to the point of where they try to make a commercial decision by passing the risk. In fact, it impacts everyone, so everyone should have their risk and accountability. That's an amazing conclusion to our chat. Thank you for your time, and obviously we wish you the best of luck for both your research and your career. You're welcome. You're welcome. You can see Jamie as well as our other scholars at our Zoominar, and Jamie will be on the 26th of January 2022.
That's correct, yeah.
Yes, because of a few. For more details of this event, or if you just want to leave a comment, please email the address you see on screen right now. And thank you for watching. And I hope to thank you, Jamie. I really learned a lot in this one. Okay.
No worries. Thank you for your time, Paul.
Cheers. Bye-bye.